There's a flower that's, I think, pretty enough to be sold in a flower shop.
Yeah, it is pretty.
Yes. It's awfully small, however, because here's what it really looks like, see?
Really, but on the screen it looks so big.
That's because we're taking the image of the flower and picking it up by this long lens and sending it over here to this little television camera. And wires lead around here over to that monitor, so that's why it looks so big, because we're magnifying it with that lens and the camera. Now, anything that we look at today, you could look at with a magnifying glass. In fact, in order for you to understand how much we're magnifying things, here is a ruler. See it? There's the number 1 down below, and I'm going to line it up so 1 is right on the left-hand side of the screen.
Okay.
Now, these are millimeters. Would you count the number of millimeters you can see?
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
32?
Yeah, 32.
Okay. Now, here's a ruler. Would you measure the width of the total television screen?
And it's about 28.
28?
Yeah.
280 millimeters.
Yeah,
Okay.
millimeters.
There's a calculator. Divide 280 by 32, did you find?
Yeah.
Okay, 32. What do you got?
8.75.
8.75. That means we're magnifying it 8, almost 9 times, right? And a typical good magnifier will magnify 10 times, so that anything we are looking at today, you can see with the magnifier. In fact, don't just look at flowers. Look at leaves as well. In fact, here is a leaf. Look.
It looks like a whole bunch of tunnels.
Yeah, those are little veins on the underside of the leaf. And of course, the veins take the water from the roots and distribute it to all parts of the leaf, so the leaf can manufacture food and send it to the other parts of the plant. So take a good look at leaves.
It looks like where the ants make their tunnels.
Tunnels, yeah. Well, see, the ants are delivering food too, so maybe that's why it ends up looking like that. Then, here's a common object that I would assume you think is very sharp.
Yeah.
It's the pointy of a common pin. Look sharp?
Yes.
Okay. Just remember the size. See how big it is? Because some of the pins in nature are much sharper. In fact, take a look at that.
A thorn.
Well, it's the leaf of a Canada thistle, which is the kind of plant that has spines sticking all over to prevent animals from eating it. And you can see they do a very good job because they are very, very sharp indeed.
Imagine touching one of those things. You might even bleed from it.
See, that's why the plant develops it, right? Now, remember the size of those spears, because here's the spear at the business end of a bumblebee. Right.
Oh, that's sharp. Once I got stung by one of
You
those
did?
things.
And you could feel it too, right?
Yeah.
You can see why, because magnified about 8.5 times or 9 times, it's really very sharp indeed. So as I said, any of the things that we looked at today you can see with the magnifying glass, and here's one that I'm going to give to you because I want you to be sure and look at things around you in your everyday life. So take that, and here, start with the business end of a bumblebee. Okay, Vanessa, put on the safety glasses. See how you look. Oh, pretty nice. Have you used safety glasses in school?
Nope.
Well, you put on safety glasses when you're doing something that's potentially dangerous. And while we're not going to do anything really dangerous here, there is acid in this beaker, and you wouldn't want to splash it in your eyes. Notice there are 2 lead plates here and wires that are connected out here to these little clips. So touch each side of the little place where that light bulb is.
Okay.
Went on and then went off, right?
Yeah.
That's because we haven't stored very many electrons, and just enough of them came out to barely light the light bulb, because we have what is known as a storage battery. Have you heard the word storage battery?
No, I haven't.
It's a lead-acid battery in which you can charge it up and then get back the charge by running equipment like that light bulb. So let's charge it up. Take those 2 things and put them over here. The red one in the red hole.
Okay.
And the black one in the black hole, obviously.
Yep.
And then turn on the switch right there.
Okay.
And watch what happens over here.
Oh, it's starting to bubble.
You see how it's bubbling?
Yeah.
See, what we're doing is sending electricity through here and taking electrons from this lead plate, running it through the acid, and storing them on the other lead plate. So we're storing electrons, which is what electricity is, a bunch of electrons. Okay, turn it off. Now try testing a light bulb.
Okay.
Push down real hard. Make a good connection. There you go.
The light bulb's lighting now.
Yeah, now because electrons are flowing through the wire to light the bulb and then coming back here again. Now, you know that there's a battery in your car, right?
Yeah.
You would have to charge the battery. Well, it's similar to this. We only had 2 plates over here, but in the car battery, we have a whole bunch of them. Look over here. See, here's a car battery taken apart. And the lead plates look like this. See?
Yep.
But there are a whole bunch of them. Each one of these cells gives you 2 volts. So how many volts do we have altogether?
Well,
2,
4, 6, 8, 10, 12.
12 volts. That's what a car does have in it. Okay, and then you put acid here and you charge it up just like we did our little one over there. But because we have so many more plates, we have many more electrons available at much greater charge. So here is the one that's all charged up already. Here are wires coming around over to here to this thing. You remember how you touch the 2 little things on each side of the light bulb?
Yeah.
Touch those 2 screws.
Okay.
Now, this is what happens when you start the car. The battery is standing by. When you put your foot on the starter, why the electrons go in and start the car, or honk the horn if the car isn't running, or play the radio. When you start the car, there's a generator or an alternator that charges up the battery, just like we did here.
That's
And
interesting.
the end result is you can use the energy from the battery like this. These peaches are unusual because they're in an orchard made up of 350 trees growing indoors. Protected from severe weather, the trees grow 2 times faster and produce fruit 2 months earlier than those growing outside. These peach trees are about 2 years old and will soon be trimmed to keep them at the desired height. Michigan State University documented how the indoor environment is controlled. Heaters are turned on around the 1st of March to bring the trees out of their winter dormancy. There's no spring frost that can sometimes harm the developing fruit on outdoor trees. In the warm months, fans and the high ceiling keep the orchard from overheating. Watering is automatic, and it's far easier to control insects and plant diseases. However, the plastic covering must be replaced every few years, and there are utility bills that must be paid. Nevertheless, since the peaches are ready for market before those on trees outside, the grower believes his system will be profitable. A most unusual commercial indoor orchard. Have you ever done any sculpting, Laura?
No, not that I can remember.
Well, here's your chance, and instead of buying clay, you're going to make your own out of flour.
Neat.
And you can shape it into all kinds of things and let it dry and end up with things like that.
That's a turtle, right?
You mean you didn't recognize it? I thought it was pretty good myself. It doesn't look like a mouse or anything else. And in fact, I'll challenge you to do something better, because by the time we finish today, you will have your own version of the clay and you can make whatever you think is good, okay? What you'll end up with is a white material like this, which you can put in the oven and dry, or just let sit. And in a day or two, it'll get nice and hard, and then you can paint it, cut it out, and do all kinds of things, okay? So here are the ingredients.
Okay, 1.5 cups of flour, 1/2 cup of salt, 1/2 cup of water, and 1/4 cup of vegetable oil.
Okay, I'm all measured out for you. So here's the first one. What's that?
1.5 cups of flour.
Okay. Now the reason you're using flour, it has protein in it. And protein is a kind of material that makes plants nice and strong. In fact, makes you strong too. So that's why you're using flour. Then what's next?
1/2 cup of salt.
Yeah. That's probably in there to prevent molds from growing. Okay, so start stirring that up. Next.
There's a half cup of water.
Okay. And?
Then a quarter cup of vegetable oil.
Right. Okay, now stir it up so that you get the consistency of sort of like bread dough. Have you ever made bread?
No.
Well, if you ever see people, when they do it, they can make it into sort of a clay-like material, as a matter of fact.
It's lumpy.
Yeah. Well, you'll smooth it out as you keep going. If you have an automatic mixer, you could probably use that. Because it's very similar to bread dough. Here, can I do it for you for a minute?
Sure.
Right. Now you can adjust it a little bit by adding a little more water or a little more flour. But here, take a handful and give it a squeeze. There you go. So you see, it's very much like modeling clay.
It's, feels gross.
Gross?
Yeah.
But I thought it was kind of nice. Anyway, you're all set now. So why don't you take it home and you see what you can make out of dough clay, all right?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And good luck.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. To feed this flock of turkeys, start with a few tons of corn. Add a ton of soybean meal. Blend 8 pounds of vitamin supplement. You could add several dozen other ingredients. You see, it's very important to feed turkeys the proper diet at each stage of their lives. Young birds need protein to support their growth, while mature birds like these need more of the carbohydrates in corn and wheat. Much of the feed for the 3 million turkeys raised around Salt Lake City comes from the Moroni Feed Company. Back in the days of hand labor, men worked around the clock to make up the millions of tons of feed mixtures that were shipped from here every day. Now it's done with the help of a Westinghouse computer called a programmable controller. The operator can set it for any one of 30 different recipes that are on file. The controller sends the proper signals to motors to open and close valves, to turn on various pieces of machinery, and blend up to 42 different ingredients to produce from 30 to 90 tons of feed per hour. Besides getting the job done in 1/3 the time, the computerized system can mix the feed more thoroughly and ultimately produce better tasting turkeys. Programmable controllers can do lots of jobs: work in factories, wash cars, treat wastewater, make pizza, and of course mix turkey dinners.
Hi, Mr. Wizard. I got your message. What are we going to do today?
Hi, Brian. Well, I knew that you were a runner, right? Are you a dasher or a long-distance runner? Which?
I go for long distance.
Okay. How do you compare to other animals, you know?
Well,
Could you beat a horse, for example, or a cheetah
No.
or something?
I couldn't beat those. They're fast.
Pretty fast. As a matter of fact, right behind you are some of the fastest animal times in the whole world. See that? There's a racing pigeon. And skip over the miles per hour and go over to centimeters per second. See how fast?
4,157
Yes.
centimeters per second.
Okay, and there's the horse. That's the fast horse. What is it?
1,745.
Okay.
That's half of what the racing pigeon does.
Yeah, right. Then we'll skip over the botfly. That's one of the fastest insects. There's the runner, but that's a champion runner. 1,000 what?
16.
16. Right. So how fast you don't ordinarily time yourself in centimeters per second.
But
Where do you think you'd be if you did?
I probably end up in here somewhere.
You think slower than a champion runner, but faster than a butterfly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now, do you know how fast you go? I got the calculator out, hoping you could figure it out.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's clear it first.
All right.
Okay. I can run 1,600 meters in about 7 minutes.
Okay.
So we punch in 1,600 meters, and we convert it to centimeters by multiplying it by 100.
Okay.
And we get 160,000 centimeters in 7 minutes still. So we
Okay.
got to divide that by 7 to get 1 minute.
Okay.
And that equals 22,857 centimeters
Your minutes now.
per minute. So we got to divide that by 60 to get in the second.
Okay. What
That's
is it?
380 centimeters in a second.
380. Ha-ha! A butterfly can beat you.
So I come in there.
Yes, but you're faster than a snake.
Yeah.
All right, and you're faster than the centipede and the spider, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the reason I wanted you to look at those speeds and sort of calculate your own is that now we are going to time how fast a cockroach can run.
A cockroach? Since when
Well,
is that?
here is a cockroach racetrack.
What does that
Let's
have
move
to
the
do with
calculator
science?
out of the way. You get that stopwatch.
Okay.
And you didn't notice it, but there is a cockroach right there, see?
Facing the wrong way.
Well, he's behind the starting gate.
So it doesn't work.
So I'm going to pull out this plug at this end, and then I'll use my stick to give him a little push. And whenever he crosses one of the lines, running, you start the stopwatch, and then time him for at least,
10 centimeters.
10 centimeters. Okay, are you ready?
Yep.
Turn around, cockroach. The other way. That's it. That's it. Turn around. Turn around. Turn around. Okay, are you ready? Go. Go.
Just under a second. So
A second for what? 1 centimeter?
for-
I mean 10 centimeters?
yeah.
Okay, 1 second, 10 centimeters. So you can compare him to the other animals over there.
It's still much slower than that spider there.
Well, we actually just timed him for one. You should do a whole bunch of trials. And also temperature makes a difference.
Well, it would.
The
if you're
hotter
hot.
it is, the faster they can run. In fact, the scientists who have investigated cockroaches have found that they can run at top speed 50 times their length in 1 second.
Gee, I wish
Really
I
pretty
could do
fast.
that.
Yeah, if you could, you'd really be a fast runner. Can you beat a cockroach?
Well, yeah.
Okay, next time you have a chance to race one, why, give them a break, let them get a head start.
Okay.
Damon, have you ever gone swimming and breathed through a snorkel like this?
Well, I've been swimming before, and I've seen other people use a snorkel.
Well, you know what the system is. You put this in your mouth.
Yeah.
And this goes above the level of the water, and the air goes in and out
Yeah.
here, right? Now, notice here are 3 different kinds of snorkels.
Yeah.
Notice the length.
Yeah, they're all the same length. The only difference is this one has a bend, but I don't think that
Yeah,
makes
they're
any
all the
difference.
same length. Now, why
Yeah.
wouldn't it make sense to have a longer snorkel so you could go deeper and see more fish?
Yeah, that would make a lot more sense.
So none of them are ever any longer than this. Now, also, some kids have tried getting like a 25-foot length of hose and going at the bottom of the swimming pool thinking they can breathe through it. And don't ever try it. It's extremely dangerous.
Why not?
Well, I'll show you. Come on around over here. See this tall tube? Got some water in it up to there. That represents the water in the swimming pool or the ocean.
Yeah.
Here is a long tube that represents the snorkel, and right now the other end's in the air. So here, try breathing. You can see that you can breathe pretty well, okay?
Just like normal breathing.
Okay, now I'm going to start lowering the snorkel into the water. Okay, you hang on to that end,
Okay.
because you're going to now assume that that the snorkel is full of water, and you want to
Okay.
blow it out. So
Okay.
blow, not too hard. See if you can force it out.
That was
Okay,
easy.
very good. All right, let's go a little deeper. Try that.
It's getting quite a bit harder because of the depth of the water and
Right,
the pressure.
you're breathing against that depth of the water. I'll fix you. I'll go way down here, like that. Try it now. Can't do it
that's
at all?
impossible.
I want to mark that. Right about there someplace. Notice, if you had a snorkel that long, you wouldn't be able to clear
Yeah,
it,
I
would
wouldn't be
you?
able to reach.
You couldn't get rid of the air. So that's why the snorkel are about that length. Now I'll move the tube about that length, like that. Now just breathe sort of normally. You can breathe okay?
Yeah. It's just
And then
easy.
don't forget also, if you would go deeper, there's more pressure on your chest. And as you try to breathe in and out, it would be more difficult too. So anyway, now you see, don't ever go at the bottom of a swimming pool with 25 length of hose, and you can now see why a snorkel is that long. Well, I can tell from the shape and the color that that's a heart, right?
Right.
But if you don't mind putting down the brush, I would like some interpretation of some of this other stuff. What's that?
That's a French horn,
Yeah.
and that's a flute.
A flute has a big bump there. Okay.
And this is a little spinner.
What do you mean spinner?
Well,
Oh, I see. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have numbers down there, and these little
Right.
things stick up, and they make a click when that goes by. Oh, I see.
this is a little monster,
Oh, that's very good, monster.
and then those are dice.
Yeah. And you made some nasty remarks about my turtle
Yeah.
yesterday when you were here.
Well, I guess it doesn't look too bad after all.
Well, after all, you've only had this for one day, and so
Yeah.
you have a chance to practice. And then you can bake this if you want to, or just let it sit out. And if you bake it, don't bake it in this, because you need to have something that will withstand the heat. And then you can paint it like you are doing the heart. Now, do you remember what to do?
Yeah.
What?
There. Flour, salt, water, and oil.
And oil, right.
Right.
And you mix them all together, and what do you got?
Dough clay.
Dough clay. And there you are. Continue to finish your heart. Ordinarily, when you come over here, Aaron, we do safe things. But every once in a while, it's fun to do a dangerous thing.
Dangerous?
Well, when the results are sort of spectacular.
Oh.
And today we're going to do one of those. So that's why you and I are wearing safety glasses.
Yes.
And I have my trusty fire extinguisher standing by, that we are some distance from the table.
Yeah.
And I have a piece of old plywood on the table and an old metal tray, and in the middle of it, a interesting looking flask.
Yeah, there's not the usual type.
Well, as a matter of fact, it's called a volumetric flask, and the reason it has such a thin neck is they put exactly 1,000 milliliters of liquid in it, and then they scratch a line on it so that you can use it to measure volumes very accurately. But it looks sort of like a flask that might have been back in the days of Arabia. And
Like in Aladdin's lamp?
Yes, and inside it is a genie.
Really?
Well, I sort of think so, and I think maybe you will agree. All it needs to be released from that strange-looking bottle is a few drops of water. And here's
Water?
how you're going to administer the water.
Squirt bottle.
Well, it's not really a squirt bottle. It's called a wash bottle.
Oh.
And scientists use it to wash down the things inside of a filter paper or whenever they want to wash it. But every beginning science student has wanted to use it as a squirt gun, because it sends out a nice stream of water by just squeezing it.
Far.
So let out the genie from the bottle by squirting at it and hopefully getting a few drops of water down the mouth.
A few drops will set a genie off.
Should give it a good squirt. Higher. Okay, hold it a minute. Now, hopefully the water is running down the inside of the flask and contacting a chemical which I have put at the bottom.
Oh, there it is.
You see there's beginning a little smoke?
It's just a little.
Just a little bit. Aha, now.
It's kind of orange.
There, but now we
it's
have a nice,
purple.
beautiful purple smoke.
Oh, it's
And
pretty.
doesn't that look like a genie?
Oh, you can
like-
see it inside the flask. You can
Yes.
see a little bit of fire-ish.
Right. That's a chemical reaction
Oh.
that's a combination of two things, which I won't tell you so that you couldn't possibly repeat it at home. You wouldn't anyway. But producing a beautiful violet smoke.
Yeah.
Now,
Changes
did you make a
colors.
wish? Because the genie grants you wishes, you know.
Yes, I wish that
What
it
was
would
your wish?
work.
You wish that it would work? Oh, well, thank you very much.